All right. I think we're all set up, except that my mic is right in front of the computer screen on Facebook. Today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be recording. My throat is a little messed up. Actually, I'm going to record the audio on this too, just in case the video doesn't come out so great. Bear with me just a moment. I have it on Zoom today because I wanted to share some slides to make some of the points that we're trying to make. What's up? Good morning. All right, I'm gonna hit the record button and we're gonna run it. We're gonna run it, even though this looks crazy to me. Okay. What is up, and welcome to another live recording of The Boss Life with Bonds. I'm your host, Coach Bonnie, and this morning, we're going to be talking about toxic femininity. And this is a topic that I don't really hear talked about nearly as much. You hear things like toxic masculinity till the cows come home, right? But we don't hear a lot about what happens when a female is being toxic. And truth be told, we've all seen it, right? We all know what it's like when you've got that friend or that woman that you're just like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with her? But I want to dig into a little bit more deeper. This is not meant to be a podcast episode where I'm just throwing dirt on women and like just coming in as a big hater. If anything, this is a call to action. This is a call to awakening. So if you are here live and you're watching on Instagram, I would recommend switching over to Facebook because I am broadcasting via Zoom, and I'm going to be sharing my screen. I'm going to be sharing a couple slides that I put together from the Lunch and Learn Lead Like a Goddess. I did a lot of research on this. It is something that has really, I feel that needs to be talked about more, and I will gladly lead the campaign, the movement, whatever about it. So if you're here live on Instagram, go ahead and slide over to Facebook so that you can see the slides, or you can always catch this on YouTube. This will be a video recording as long as everything looks on the up and up. This will be a video recording on Spotify. And I believe that Apple Podcasts does video episodes too. If not, then you'll definitely want to tune into Spotify or to YouTube to see the slides. But before we do get into anything, I've got some exciting news for you guys, especially those that are new to the community or those that have been here for a while. I have decided one of the things that I want to do is I love teaching, and we're going to have workshops and master classes that we do throughout the year. And I couldn't figure out what to do for the summer one. I've been praying, I've been meditating, I've been looking to the sky, I've been looking to the water, I'm looking at the wasp and the nature, like waiting for inspiration, and nothing really came to me. And I literally woke up this morning at 3 a.m. and couldn't get this concept out of my head of self-healing summer, right? Like hot girl summer or whatever kind of like thick girl, whatever. But all I could think of, well, what about self-healing summer? I've seen no less than like 5 Facebook posts where different women that are not connected at all in any way, shape, or form have talked about how they're going through it. This healing stuff isn't easy. This hurts, this sort of thing. And so I'm like, well, that's it. Like a lot of women are awakening, right? And that's kind of been the theme, awaken the goddess within, right? Lead like a goddess. But when you don't have the proper tools, when you don't really know what to do, that can make the waters a little murky. You're not really sure where to go and what to touch. I know that specifically and personally, coming from a church background, I heard so many things that were just, in my opinion, toxic to females and very much perpetuating a misogynist agenda, right? To disempower women and to take away our innate giftings and deem them as either evil or insignificant. So the Self-Healing Summer Series is starting July 1st. That is a Saturday. The first course or class will be at 12 p.m. Each class is going to be only $33, and so you can buy whichever one that you want. The first one is going to be an introductory where I give you the round picture, like the full picture, the scope of what we're doing, why it's important, how to go about it. And then after that, we're going to have different series, right? I'm also going to lay out the foundation. Like this week, this class will be about shadow work. This class will be about self-healing. This class will be about feminine embodiment. This class will be about just all of the different things that I have personally used on my own self-growth journey and that we use in the mind and body community as a part of our mind and body method of holistic transformation. And so what I want to do is just provide you the education, the resources, and the tools to go about this on your own. Of course, we do this in our community with our clients through group coaching and through one-on-one coaching. And I go live, like yesterday, I went live and did a random like wisdom card reading for my community. So we do a lot of this on our own, but I know we do this a lot as a collective and as a community. But I want to give you the chance to do this on your own and kind of give you the tools for your self-healing journey. Because that's how I went about it. There was no playbook. I didn't know what to do when I left church. I heard, therapy, like, what do you mean therapy? Go talk to the pastor. And I know a lot of you may have that same background where, if you grew up in church, it's like, we don't go to therapy, we go to the pastor. And then some of you, if you grew up, depending on your socioeconomic status, you may have had therapy be something that's only for rich people, right? Or only some white people shit. So there's so many people out there that didn't have access to these sort of things because their family, because of tradition. And a lot of people grew up under the tradition of religion. And so it was just, that wasn't even a question. Like, your pastor knows what's up. And I just want to speak as someone that went to Bible college, right? Went to school for theology. We do get some pastoral training. We get some counseling training, and it's pretty dope. But I know that going to school in the 21st century to become a minister looks a lot different than what a lot of y'all experienced. Some of your pastors didn't have college degrees. Some of your pastors didn't have degrees in psychology or counseling. And some of them didn't always have your best interest at mind. And so if you can relate to that, if you have church hurt, or if you never got any type of therapy and you want to go about it on your own because you don't trust opening up to a stranger, this series is going to give you the tools to walk yourself through that self-healing journey. And again, I highly recommend that you do that either with a therapist, with I'm trying not to say coach because I know that word can sting with some people, but a facilitator, someone that is educated and experienced in helping people move through their trauma, right? And there's so many different people out there. I'm connected to so many different women who this is their jam. But in the event that all of this is new to you, or in the event that you still want to go it alone, I want to give you the tools and the resources so that you can. Because if I can do it on my own, then you can too. And I just simply want to give you my personal playbook for what helped me and what is helping the women in the mind and body community. And if you are even thinking about going on the Awaken the Goddess Within retreat, and you have not even touched doing the inner work, you need to take one of these self-healing summer series classes so that you don't get there and just look at us like we're all crazy, or get there and be confused, right? You want to at least have some kind of idea of what's going on. Okay, announcements done. Cool. Jumping right into it. Toxic femininity. What is it and what it ain't, and why this is important. Men get thrown under the bus a lot, and with good reason. Sorry, guys, but I mean, you look at the state of the world right now, right? We're running out of resources, right? Let's just back it up, right? And this, I hate to just come down on them, but guys, I think it's something like 98% or 90% of all violent crimes are committed by men. Majority of rapes are committed by men. Robberies, I'm not saying women aren't in jail, but the violent crimes, violence comes from a strong emotion that was not able to be channeled into anything healthy, right? Or an alternative. Majority of the violent crimes are created by men. And the reason that I believe for that is because men have not been given this safe and healthy space, outlet, environment. They have not been shown how to do the inner work either. And because the gifts that females come with, the things that we bring to the table as divine beings, they're divine too, right? We're made in the image of the divine. We're made in the image of God. We're all divine. But however, when we're not operating in alignment with how we were created to be, we get this, right? We get the opposite of what we were meant to be. And that's what I mean by toxic. So when you hear me use terms like toxic femininity or toxic masculinity, this isn't just me yelling at an ex who didn't respond to my text messages, or an ex who cheated on me. That's shitty behavior. However, when I call it toxic, I'm more or less talking about unhealed, wounded, or unbalanced masculine or feminine energy. Now, because I'm talking to the Divine Feminine Collective, that is you. If you're a female and you're here right now and you identify as a female and you know that you were made in the image of divinity, right? Like you are literally like a spitting image of your creator. I'm talking to you. If that doesn't relate to you, cool. I hope you get some value from this either way. But for the Divine Feminine Collective, I'm going to be specifically talking to you guys about how we show up as toxic females. And the best way to do that, I'm trying to move my mic setup and my camera because the mic is like right in front of my laptop. Okay. All right. So the best way to do this is through storytelling. I can remember when I was in community college, I dropped out of high school at 16 because I was, for lack of a better term, bored. Like I didn't have to show up to school and I was still getting good grades and I had a kid and I was like, this is dumb. I hate it here. And these kids are spoiled and I have real life problems. I don't have time for it. Mom, take me out. So I started community college at 17 and I was scared and I was lonely and I was in an abusive relationship and I was being told constantly that I'd never be more than a $2 an hour making waitress. So I was really trying to, like, he embedded that in me very early in our relationship, like around 15 or 16. And well, whenever I started serving, so let's 16, 17, that's probably when it started. So I was out to prove that I could become more. So I was in the admissions office and I didn't have my words together. I didn't know how to pause for the cause and collect my thoughts and articulate them in a way that presented the level of intelligence and sophistication that I truly possess. So I was just in here, 17 years old in the office, stumbling over my words, couldn't really figure out what I was trying to say. And I remember the woman, she's a Black woman, and I remember her looking at me and saying, let's use adult words. And I remember in that moment, I literally just like shut her out. I was like, oh, wow. That hurt because like I'm looking to her as like a fellow Black woman, like a woman, first of all, and then she's of color. So I'm like relating to her and I'm looking to her for guidance and looking to her to be that woman. And hold on, my son is texting me. Okay, I gotta leave. Not I gotta leave. I gotta let him take my car to work today because I'm in the middle of a podcast. And I remember feeling so disempowered and so just, it didn't feel good to have a woman that I was hoping to look up to talk to me like I was dumb or belittle me. And I continue to have experiences like that in the workplace specifically. I can remember having female bosses and I'd be so excited to have a female boss because you guys have heard the stories. I've had managers that would sexually harass me, both like verbally and physically, who would manipulate my schedule because I wouldn't flirt with them or because I didn't show any attention to them and make it hard for me as a single mom to get home to my kids and do all my other things. They would purposely put me on the schedule in a way that was just not, that just didn't work out for me. So I was so excited to see females in positions of leadership. And then it didn't work out like at all. Like they were manipulative, they were conniving, they did spiteful things. They didn't try to build me up. Instead, they made sure to like keep a distance, like, oh, that kind of female who doesn't have her shit together versus me. And so this is kind of the environment that I grew up in with women. I remember even being in church. When I first went back to church in my early 20s, one of the leaders, again, I looked up to her, I latched onto her. I was like, oh my gosh, this woman's amazing. And I think I saw something like some politically divisive stuff on her social media, which I take responsibility for being offended. Like that's my own fault, right? But I remember when I reached out to her, like the Bible said to, and took my problems to her instead of gossiping. And I was like, hey, blah, 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 blah. The way she blew me off and just completely disregarded me like I was insignificant. And like, I was just like, get out of my face, little girl. Like, I don't care about this stuff like that. That really hurt. And so what that that did was it took me out of my soft feminine, right? Because you saw, as I was open to learning, I was open to being a part of like this community of women in any situation. I was open to learning from the women that came before me, and all they did was push me down further and further. And so this kind of left me jaded. This left me feeling a little wounded. And there's so many other stories that can come up, like girlfriends in middle school who would three-way call me with my crush and like humiliate me on the phone without knowing they were there. That's a little childish little kitty girl shit. But like that behavior, when it's not checked and when healthy feminine behavior isn't modeled, this is who these women grow up to be as adults. They grow up to be women that don't feel the need to support and empower. They feel like we're in competition with one another. And society does a wonderful job of pitting us against each other and putting us at competition with ourselves as well. And so when it comes to the topic of toxic femininity, I want you to take a moment and think about what sort of interactions have you had with women that made you look at them like, I never want to be like that, or that turned you off from something that you were actually really excited about and liked, right? Like, I can remember thinking I never want to be that type of woman. So when I went into leadership, I made sure that I was the exact opposite of that woman. I remember thinking I never want to be like that manager. So when I started running my business, I make sure that when I talk to my team, it's never in a like, how stupid are you? Or why can't you talk like an adult? Or why can't you work faster? I never wanted them to feel like that. And when it came to, what was the other one? Of the lady at Valencia, the college, like when it comes to someone who's just starting their journey and coming into the mind and body community, when they ask questions like, how do I use this gym equipment? I don't make them feel like, you idiot. Like, how could you not tell? That's so easy. What's wrong with you? I felt that lack of acceptance and that lack of empowerment and that lack of sisterhood, that toxic feminine energy from so many women, that who I am today is a product of trying to not be anything like them. And so that has a twofold, it's like a double-edged sword, because that's the state of the feminine culture now, is the posts that I hate the most are the ones that are like, I do this and you do that. We are not the same. And all the other females liking it and shipping in like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm looking at them like, who does this benefit? Who is that benefiting? Does that empower you to disempower other women? Does that make you feel good to make another female feel like, instead of, hey sis, I figured out a way to make more money, let me show you how? No, instead you say, I make money and your card declines, we aren't the same. Who's that helping? I want you to think about every woman in your family, in your life, and in your history, because all of them probably didn't have the easiest path. And all of them had to face some sort of struggles on their own, specifically when it comes to being in the workplace, specifically when it comes to trying to start their own business, specifically to a lot of things that were cut off from us for so long. So why is it that when one of us gets it, we feel the need to flaunt it and put each other down, instead of, hey, let me show you how I did it? Everything about mind and body is, hey sis, this is what we're doing over here. If you like it, we'll show you. If you need community, we'll take you. If you feel like you're an outsider, we got you. If you feel like you don't know where to start, we got you. You've been doing spirituality for a long time and you just need, we got you. You're just starting, we got you. Because what I've seen, what I've experienced could literally shatter someone's their sense of self-worth. It shouldn't. And I know there's going to be all this rebuttal like, oh, your self-worth shouldn't be relying on external validation. And that's cute and grand. And I love it. And it's beautiful. But that's not reality. Reality is we do rely on external validation. Okay. You shouldn't solely rely on it. You should have a sense of internal validation. But the truth is, a lot of us are relying on what the next person thinks, especially if it's someone that we look up to. And you may be thinking, well, I'm not anyone that people look up to. You don't know that. I remember in my worst days when I was struggling, working, only sleeping 3 hours a night, working the 10 p.m. shift to 8 a.m., taking Danny to school, going to sleep at 9 a.m., waking up at 12 p.m., studying from 12 to 4 p.m., go pick up Andre from school, 6 p.m., pick up Danny from daycare, get food ready, go to church, mentor my students from 6 to 9, go home and change, go to work at 10 and do it again. I was tired and I did not have money and I served my ass off. And I remember being so depressed, like, when is life going to get better for me? And having pity parties and when. And my brother looked at me and he goes, sis, you know how many people would love to live where you live? You know how many people would love to experience the things that you experience and be able to do for their kids what you do for your kids? And I didn't see it like that. And I didn't know that even back then there were women looking at me through that lens that he said. So no matter where you're at in your journey, you may think that you don't have it all figured out. You may think that you look a hot mess. Also, in that time, I had gotten my car repossessed. I had gotten 2 cars repossessed in a short amount of time, in like 3 years, maybe 3 or 4 years. I got the second one back the next day though. But like it was rough. And to think that even in my weakest, even in my darkest, even in my lowest points, there's still women looking to me for inspiration, that just blows my mind. And it's also a reminder to you that even though you think that you are so far below these women you follow on Instagram, these influencers, this is not, there's always somebody looking up to you. What are they looking up to? What kind of woman are they looking up to? Right? So I've went in so many different directions with that, because with this topic, because it's so near and dear to me. One, because I'm a mother of boys and I hear the word toxic masculinity thrown around like freaking candy. Two, because I'm a female empowerment junkie. And when I hear women put men down to make themselves feel better, um, it just reminds me of how women put other women down to make themselves feel better. None of that shit is healthy. None of that shit is acceptable. And none of that shit is conducive to healing the world, healing the planet, healing the collective, raising the vibration, making the world a better place. But when you're only focused on yourself and your own goals and your own ambitions, you don't have time to be worried about the collective. And with that, I want to start talking about what healthy femininity looks like so that you can see the contrast between it and toxic femininity. So if you are watching on Facebook, I'm going to share my screen. And this is going to be interesting because anytime I go to share my screen, it's always a shit show. So we'll see. All right. Please Zoom, be my friend today. It always shows like my whole life because my desktop is my vision board. And fun fact, at the Wonder Woman in Tech conference that this presentation was presented at, I went with my mentor and we used my laptop for his show notes for his USB. And for whatever reason, it wouldn't mirror my screen, or it wouldn't mirror his slides. It only showed my vision board that looks like a little girl's wonderland, rainbows, colors, and like, I'm the number one this and da-da-da. That was one of the most embarrassing moments ever. Moving right along. So anyhow, if you want to watch it, I made a 15-minute presentation of Lead Like a Goddess, and you can hear like my full spectrum on how I feel about the feminine leadership, what it is to be a goddess and to lead like a goddess, where it came from, why we need females to step up in their power. If you want access to this, drop a comment, whether you're on Instagram or Facebook, and just drop a comment that says Lead Like a Goddess, and I'll reach out to you and get your email and send it over to you. And if you are listening to this on like the replay, like Spotify or Apple Podcast, you can go ahead and what are the words that I'm trying to say? You can email me at hello@mindembodied.co. Okay, so we're gonna go over what healthy feminine energy looks like, right? And I use the goddess as a representation because when you think of a goddess, like nobody thinks of anything wrong with her, right? Okay, so healthy feminine energy is intuitive, right? That's what Mind and Body is all about, is teaching women to tap into their intuition. A healthy female is in touch with her intuition. If you feel cut off from your intuition, start with your body. Start with how you are taking care of your body or how you are not. A healthy female is grounded. She's grounded in her power. There was a season where I was so ungrounded, where any coach that said they can make me successful in my business, I was just throwing money at them because I didn't believe, like I knew I was powerful. I knew that I had a gift. I knew that I had a message to speak, but I just didn't feel confident in my ability to do it without paying someone to tell me. I wasn't fully grounded, right? Healthy feminine energy is empathetic and forgiving. I can't tell you how many women in my family harbor so much hatred towards men. And I'm like, this is eating you alive way more than it's hurting any other man. This is hurting your son that you are raising, your daughter that you are raising, more than anything. Healthy feminine energy is empathetic and forgiving. Okay. I'm not saying that you need to be a doormat, but this whole like, I don't forgive people, I'm like, you're only hurting yourself. When you don't forgive people, you're drinking the poison and expecting them to feel something. Or at the very least, you're drinking your own poison. Forgiveness is a beautiful thing. Your heart will thank you. Healthy feminine energy is creative. For years, I used to tell myself that I wasn't creative because all my friends at church, they were actors, they were directors, they were singers, they were dancers, they could do all these things. And I could do all of those things sort of okay, but I wasn't like a great choreographer, and I wasn't an artist, so I used to tell myself I wasn't creative. Flash forward to now, and like content creation is I've been told by my mentors, like that's my superpower. So I love that even though my creative expression doesn't look like everyone else's, I still get to be creative. On another note, even if you don't feel like you're creative, even after I gave, my definition of what creativity looks like for me, you get to create the greatest gift in the world, females. You get to create life. Okay, there's a creative force within you, whether you realize it or not, and tapping into your healthy, tapping into your feminine energy is going to help you embrace that even more. Healthy feminine energy. I want you to think of the sun as masculine and the moon as feminine. Why? Because the sun rises and sets at basically the same time every day, 365 days a year. If it doesn't, it's a big deal, right? Whereas the moon comes in phases and cycles, right? Whole lunar phases. What does that sound like? A feminine cycle. What does that sound like? It comes and it goes. Sometimes it's fully showing. Sometimes it's just a little piece of it. Sometimes it's that. And females, I need you to understand that part of your femininity is the fact that you don't have to be so fucking boxed in and the same shit every single day. And if you don't, if you got a type A personality and you're like, no, Bonnie, I can't, I have to do the same shit every day. I call bullshit because I'm a fitness coach. I have a fitness business. And the thing I hear from women the most is I hate doing the same workouts over and over. So tell me again how you are not a creature of flow and cycle. You are. You're just trying to resist it because this world was not made for women. This world was made to benefit men. Okay. Love you, men, but let's just be real. In a similar way that the American system and way of life was not built to benefit anybody but white men and their families. And the work that we're doing now is dismantling those systems. And it's so deeply embedded within the structures that when you call it out, people are like, why would you say that? How could you? No, it's real. It was, right? Like if I create something, my membership, my business was meant to benefit women, specifically women who've gone through church hurt, trauma, and women of color, people of socioeconomic status, the minorities, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to hide it. This is who I built it for. And, ooh, all these dang alerts on my phone. I wish they would stop. All right, back to the bullet list. Healthy feminine energy is compassionate. Okay, she is magnetic. Tell me not when you walk into the room or when a woman who is fully embodied in her power, she could be overweight. She could not be the most made up person, but when she comes into the room, her presence is felt. She's magnetic. That's what healthy feminine energy looks like. It doesn't matter what size you are, how much makeup you wear. A woman that is fully embodied, intuitive, grounded, empathetic, creative, all of these things, you can't help but be like, dang. I remember at retreats, I didn't get to go to one, but I remember all of her name was Jeannie Mayo, actually, if you're into church and pastors. And I remember the men went to a conference or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it was a co-ed conference, but all the men came back and they were like, I just love her. I just love her. And I'm expecting to see some hot young chick. And it's like, grandma, something about her fully embodied, healthy, feminine energy, it calls men in. I'm gonna tell you right now, there are men that reach out to me for coaching. And what I do, even though nothing on here says anything like, hey, I coach men. Why? Because they can see that I'm grounded and in my healthy, feminine flow. And I magnetize the people to me that need me. That's what happens. That's why I blend manifestation into our teachings, because it's very easy to manifest your desires when you are in this feminine state. The next subject or the next line is receptive. When you're in your feminine energy, you can receive. It's very hard for you to receive love, to receive gifts, to receive presents and recognition when you are not in your feminine. Someone says you're pretty, instead of saying, thank you so much. And that's it. You got, oh, well, oh, this old thing, or, oh, well, you look pretty too. Nah, sis, just receive the compliment. Right? Some of us can't receive help because we're so much in our masculine that we feel like it's a pity, or we feel like we're being looked down upon. And it's like, sis, you know, those women that just get money from men for existing? I got a secret for you. They're in their feminine energy. You can talk shit all you want to. You can say they're showing ass and shaking titties. You can say whatever you want. But the truth of the matter is, they're in their feminine energy and they're magnetic and they're receptive. And going back to what I was talking about earlier about toxic femininity and even a little bit about shadow work, I talked about this in the last podcast. We will reject what we don't accept in ourselves. And so all the church women that would shame women that come to church with dresses higher than their knees, or all the super conservative women that shame women like myself who go out and wear thongs at the beach and fully embrace their body, they're rejecting what they won't accept in themselves, which is seeing a woman embrace her sensuality and do it confidently. Okay. The last couple ones are pretty like straightforward. She's confident, she's powerful, she's fair, she's warm, nurturing, and healing. Let me see if I put any more on here. We also got, she's independent, she's wildly passionate, right? Your wildly passion can look different than mine, But you know when a woman is not fully embodied in her energy, when she lacks passion. She better be passionate about them kids, passionate about sex, passionate about saving the world, passionate about nature, something. But when that goddess within her is awakened, she is passionate about these things. You can't keep it from her. And it doesn't have to be loud like I am. She could be very methodical behind the scenes, but wildly passionate is a part of the divine feminine, and also always evolving. This is one that I think, because you guys are so used to the way that men progress, and it's like very systematic, this step, this step, this step, this step. And the way we do is more like the ocean, where we come and we go, we come and we go. And I try to explain this when it comes to fitness coaching. Like, there are months where I am on it. There are months when I'm not so much. There are months when I'm on top of my game, and there's months where there's not so much. Once you can learn to embrace and just accept that that's how you function, you'll be able to be more patient with yourself and with others. You'll be able to feel more balanced in your own skin and in your workplace and in your family. You'll be able to embrace your body as sacred and whole. These are all the things that happen when you are in your healthy, balanced feminine energy. But on the flip side, what does toxic feminine energy look like? Oh, I got a whole nother list of for those of you on Instagram, I have slides up on Facebook. So that's what I'm reading from. All right. On the other hand, what does wounded, unbalanced, or even toxic feminine energy look like? This is one that I deal with a lot as a fitness coach. You're lacking motivation, you're lazy, and you give up easily. You wake up and well, I don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. Oh, well, nobody liked my post today, so I'm not going to post again for my business. Oh, well, I missed 3 days at the gym. What if I go now and people look at me? I'm not going to go. Like, what are you talking about, right? You come up with any excuse not to be in your power. Unfocused. Or not, I'm not going to say unfocused because that's me and my ADHD, whole another story, but constantly overthinking. The overthinking part of your brain is the masculine side, right? Where you feel like you have to solve every single problem down to a T. Part of you being in your receptive mode, and this is what's hard for a lot of women, is that when I stop trying to analyze and figure out every single aspect of my life, and I'm like, all right, God, this is what my intention is. I feel like it came from you because it's crazy. So let's run it. This is my intention for this month, or this is my intention for blah, blah, blah. This is what I have. Can you meet me halfway? Or can you fill in the gaps? That's living by faith. I think that one of the strongest attributes of a divine feminine is that she can live by faith. When you're constantly overthinking and overanalyzing, you now switch over into your masculine energy. And it's very hard for you to, I already talked about this, it's very hard for you to receive help from outside men, right? But it's also very hard for you to receive help from that divine source because you are busy trying to figure out every single answer. And God, source energy, the universe, whatever you want to refer to your higher power as, is looking at you like, I can't, well, when you, and you're just over here and you're like, well, because I actually was going to bring this person into your life that would open the door for you to be able to do this. And this, but you didn't know. Okay, you got it all figured out. Okay, cool. Right. And some of us live like this, and we create this idea that, and I had it too, that I can't be taken care of, that I cannot trust the men in my life, that I cannot trust the people in my life, and that I cannot trust God to provide, that I cannot trust the universe to provide. And so I'm up at night, overthinking, overanalyzing, right? Some of you are like this when it comes to bettering yourself, like the perfectionist syndrome. Okay, well, I'm not going to do this until I make sure I have every single fact, because because what if I mess up? And if I mess up, then I'll be mad at myself. And if I'm mad at myself, I'll never forgive myself. So I don't want to mess up. So I'm going to wait till I have it perfect. But knowing, damn good and well that perfection is not something that can ever be attained. And so you block yourself from making progress in life because you're over here trying to be perfect and trying to overanalyze and overthink, when if you would slow down for a second and have room for divine intervention, you'd reach these places and you'd receive these gifts and you'd receive these promotions and you'd receive these open doors and just crazy blessings in your life if you didn't feel like you were the one that had to do it all the damn time. This may not land well with a lot of women, but I don't have a problem being taken care of by a man. It took me a very long time to be okay with that, because my wounded feminine energy said men aren't reliable. And if they do, they never meet your expectations. And I had to deal with, do I have high expectations? Am I bougie? No, I don't. I actually had very bare minimum requirements and they still weren't meeting it. So I created a story that they can't be trusted. I have to work hard on my own. And if they are going to take care of me, it's because they want to sleep with me, or it's because they want to control and abuse me. I'm literally like maybe 2 years fresh out of that mindset, where every man that wanted to help me, I'm looking at him like he just wants to fuck, or he just wants to put me in his house and make me his trophy wife. And I've been there before with an unhealthy teenage boy who wasn't well, and it didn't feel good. It resulted in me being a rag doll and a freaking sex slave. I'm not going back to that. And many of you women have probably experienced something like that or worse. And I need you to understand that the moment you let go of that pain and you those things that we listed, that empathy, that forgiveness, I'm not saying you got to make him your best friend, but I'm saying that you do have to let go of that pain so that you can be back in your soft energy and you don't have to kill yourself to get the things that you want in life. So I don't know if you know this, right? But there's something about the masculine that likes to work. I'm not saying that men have to work hard while we sit at home and do nothing, but there is something very natural about the masculine energy that likes to get shit done. They like to open doors for you. Doesn't mean he wants to flirt with you. Get over yourself. He's being a man. He's being a gentleman. He wants to open the door for you. They want to fix your flat tire when they see you on the side of the road, not just to make you feel like a little woman, but because that's part of their nature. In the same way that you want to save all the fucking dogs on the planet. In the same way that I wanted to take in every single teenager in Orlando whose parents either kicked them out because they were gay when we were in church, or because they just weren't in a good situation. Like, that's my feminine energy, to be nurturing and to be motherly. And I know there's all this talk about gender roles this and gender roles that, and I hear y'all and I get it, but like, I'm not this is nature. And you can say it's environment that made us like this, and cool. To that extent, yes. But there's some very natural tendencies of masculine and natural tendencies of feminine that just work together. And it works well for you to be in the mode to receive, so that when that right man does come along, you're actually able to receive his love. When that help does come in that you've been praying for, you can actually receive it instead of having your guard up and thinking everybody's out to get you. I think that I have harped in on the overthinking one a bit. So I'm going to go on to what other toxic femininity looks like. Depressed and unmotivated. I'm going to dump that in with the lazy and gives up easily. I want you ladies to know that a lot of the reasons why some of us are depressed and unmotivated is because we've been on birth control and we've been on things that alter our hormones and our body's natural cycles. And so when I'm talking about mind and body fitness, talking about eating healthy, lifting weights, I'm not just talking about weight loss. I'm talking about you being able to listen to your body's cues again and tap into them, because it's going to help you with your intuition. I'm talking about you giving your body the vitamins, the minerals, the macronutrients that it needs, so that your fat cells can carry the appropriate hormones to the appropriate parts of your body at the appropriate time, so that you can function right. Too many women start their fitness journey and try to leave the healing out of it, and that's why they're always looking for another quick fix. And these quick fixes are jacking up your body's normal hormonal balance. Someone messaged me today and sent me a picture of what they want to look like in 2 weeks, and is like, what do I need to do? And I was like, pray, go get surgery. That's not happening. So they just kept on asking questions. I was like, fine, you want to know how to look like that in 2 weeks? Don't eat anything at all. Don't eat anything at all and do an hour cardio a day. Good luck. And when you're done, you will pay for your slowed down metabolism and what you did to your body. And a lot of us in our depressed, lazy, and unmotivated lazy, depressed, and unmotivated, wounded feminine energy do things like sit around all day long on our couches, on our desks, in our beds. We don't get a lot of sunlight. We don't get a lot of movement. We eat potato chips and a whole bunch of processed foods, which I'm not the anti-processed food coach. You guys know that. I eat potato chips if they're there. I don't buy them though. You know, like I eat bagels. Oh my gosh. Right? But like some of us, this is our standard diet. We don't move a lot. We don't drink water. We don't get sunlight. We eat food out of a bag till our heart's content or till our stomach hurts. And then we wonder why we don't feel motivated to create or motivated to work out. We go on Friday nights and have ladies' night and drink our faces off. Wake up Saturday. You could be waking up and going to the gym. Instead, you're waking up hungover. Like, we do a lot of things that perpetuate this wounded energy and why we stay there. So when it comes to unmotivated, depressed, and lazy, I stopped taking clients that tell me right off the bat, I'm depressed. So I'm going to tell them, do you want to work on that first? Because if you come into this community and you are literally depressed, and you haven't taken the steps to start getting yourself out of that dark hole, this is just going to feel like another failure to you. So I want you to start working on basic stuff like getting some sunlight, walking 20 minutes a day, drinking water, and feeding food that actually fuels your body. Okay. I eat fruits in some way or another every day. Eat vegetables in some way or another every day. Protein is a big part of my diet, and I eat whole grains. As a result, my skin looks good. I'm reverse aging. I'm aging backwards. I have the energy to work out, run a business, take multiple coaching calls, which is a serious energy drain, show up for my clients, show up for my family, show up in my relationships. Not perfect, but I have the energy to do so. So if you're feeling like you identify more like you're in your wounded, unbalanced, toxic feminine energy, I want you to start with what you're fueling your body. Your mind and your body aren't connected. They're the same thing. Okay. Your mind will start to feel better as you start to do better. I'm going to get off of that one because the fitness coach in me came out. All right, we back. Wounded feminine energy looks like entitlement. I've talked about this a lot, and especially on the last podcast about this whole, I want to get, what is it called? Oh, paid to exist. And I like that, and I don't like it. I like it because I created a business where I do get paid to exist, but in this existence, I'm also doing a lot of stuff on the back end. I'm doing a lot of research. I'm creating a lot of stuff. I'm posting on social media. I'm having conversations with women. I'm doing stuff. So, but eventually I'll get to the point where all this stuff pays off and I won't have to work as much and the courses are there. And then I can say, I get paid to exist. I have residual income. I'm not against residual income. What I'm against is this feeling of, well, I'm just pretty and I just exist. So men should just pay me and people should just do stuff for me. In the book, let me pull it out for you guys. In the book, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read this, you should. This is a very masculine guidebook for manifestation. It's literally all the same things that we talk about in manifestation, but in a very masculine, linear approach. I'm not in opposition to this. This is if you're a man and you listen to my stuff and the resources that I give you are a little bit too much on the feminine side and not relatable, get this book. The feminine alternative to goal setting is manifestation. And it's where we can magnetize things to ourselves and where we can call in things for ourselves. And it works really well when you're in your healthy, receptive mode. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because when you start out, I've been a mentor for online business coaches in 2 or 3 different communities. And what I saw specifically with the newer coaches was they would join the community, be so excited to make some money. This is during COVID too. So everybody was ready to become a 6-figure coach in 3 days. And they'd be like, I made a post on social media. Why isn't anyone reaching out? I went live. Why isn't anyone working with me? And I saw this from the men and the women, but I know that specifically, like when we tough love the guys, like, get the fuck out of here. You just showed up. Nobody knows who you are. Give them some more value. Stop hiding secrets. Tell them what they need to know. Serve your people. Be someone they actually like. Don't just come on here and yell at them. And they're like, oh, that's what I need to do? Okay. And they do it, and then their businesses grow. Whereas with my females, and I'm one of them, we would be like, oh my gosh, more. So I have to do another live. I got to plan the content. And it's like, again, that kind of lazy, giving up easily, unmotivated. And it's a little bit entitled. Like, oh, well, I've been posting every day for months. So why didn't I have this? And I see it in the fitness journey. Ladies, you knew I was coming back to it. Don't play. I see this in the fitness journey. Well, I signed up with you and, I'm not getting the results like they are over there. And I'm like, well, are you doing what they are over there? Are you logging your workouts using the app? Are you going slow and controlled? Are you breathing properly? Are you bracing your core? Are you adding a little bit of weight each time you work out like we asked you to? Well, no, I don't use the app. Okay. Are you tracking your food? Are you meal prepping? Are you reading labels and paying attention to anything? Are you doing anything different with your nutrition than before when you started? Well, no, that's too busy. That's aggravating. I don't want to do that. Check. Have you walked today? Yeah. I worked out. I took my kids to the park. And it's like, we're wanting to put very minimal effort and wanting exponential returns back. To me, that is entitled. I worked my ass off to build the body that I have, and I'm still building it. I tracked food. I tracked my workouts. I slowed down on the drinking. I meal prepped. I portion controlled. So when people come to me expecting to get what took me years to get in a few months, I'm looking at her like, sis, get fucking real. Because this journey, the reason why it'll take you, anything in life is going to take you as long or as little as you'll give it. And so, and another thing when it comes to habit change is that the people that need the most work will need the most time. And so if you have never been active, athletic, paying attention to nutrition, healthy in any means, shape or form, whatever, it's going to take you a little while longer to undo some of those habits. But because we live in a microwave culture where we expect, well, I paid money, so I get result. I went to Instagram, I'm on TikTok. I'm sad. I found a video, it made me happy. I went on TikTok. I was mad, found a video, it made me happy. Only 7 seconds long. Boom, boom, boom. We all have this sense of entitlement where things should just come quickly and easily. And that shit ain't real. And I know a lot of people are, especially from entrepreneurs and coaches that hired online coaches, a lot of us are in for a rude awakening because this junk doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. So this sense of entitlement where I should just show up and get things. I had a sense of entitlement. When I showed up at the blocks last week, I was like, I'm president of Toastmasters. You see these trophies. I've won international speech contests. I kill it. I know how to, once I'm in my flow, I got it. And I didn't, they had multiple challenges every single day and I didn't win any of them. And I just remember the first day it hit my ego. And the second day I was like, that's not what I'm here for. I see you, God. Okay. But I did go in there with a sense of entitlement and I got humbled. So if you notice that you are expecting things to come super easy, I'm not saying you have to grind your ass off and kill yourself, but if you're expecting something for nothing, I'm going to need you to stop and take some inventory about what you have to offer the world. Like he says here, you can have abundance, you can have money, you can have success and fame, but you need to be real about what you're going to give in exchange for that. What I give in exchange for this is like, I get wisdom and I get, and I've fought and overcome a lot of things and I've worked with a lot of people and I've been in a lot of different spaces and have a lot of different experiences. So my gift to this world is here's the pain that I went through, bottled up and condensed in courses, bottled up and condensed in coaching, bottled up in this podcast. Here, listen, apply it so you don't have to go through what I went through. That's my gift of exchange to the world and exchange for the abundance, right? So if you are expecting something, abundance, joy, laughter, peace, whatever, a healthy relationship, you also get to be a healthy participant in that relationship. You don't get to just show up and expect the man to give you money and take care of your house and you don't even clean up the house, sis. I have way too many male friends who it's uncomfortable how much they talk about they wish that their girlfriend was like me because she doesn't cook, she doesn't clean, she just wants to have sex and she wants to smoke weed and she wants to be taken care of. Sis, that's entitlement, right? Expecting something for nothing. No, you don't have to be like the man and go do hard, rough labor if you don't want to, but you do need to realize that everything is give and take. There's a law of reciprocity, the universal law of reciprocity, right? You give what you get. You receive in the same measure in which you give. I'm going to get off of that one, but that was my, when I think about toxic femininity, that's my number one thing right there is the entitlement. Well, I'm pretty, so everyone should pay me. Well, I'm this, so everyone should like me. Like, calm down, calm down, calm down. All right, let's keep it going. Lacking confidence, no spiritual intuition or no grace. Too much alpha female energy, like the women that I described earlier, who were so determined to not help another female, but were more worried about themselves. And the reason why this is toxic feminine energy is because the feminine energy is nurturing, because we are mothers. So the feminine energy naturally wants to be more inclusive. And that's what this workshop that I created, the Lead Like a Goddess, is all about. When there's more females in leadership, we do things to go above and beyond to make spaces feel more inclusive. When I joined when I ran for president as Toastmaster, my number one objective was for people that look like me, whether they have a uterus or whether they just don't look like all the other males in the room, the white males in the room, I want them to feel comfortable. And I used to count every single week. When I first started, there was an average of 4 to maybe 8 women in the room, tops. And I started last June and my term is up literally this June. And I'm proud to say we've always had a diverse group as far as like ethnicities and stuff, but there's on average no less than 16 women in the room, sometimes as many as 24 in the room. And I didn't do anything special. I didn't get on here every week and be like, ladies, you can be recognized and feel special and be recognized with this too. No, like I didn't do that. I just, that again, I set the intention. It was like, God, this is my intention. And week after week after week after week, we kept seeing more women and more just different diverse people showing up because I went in with that feminine energy as a leader that is magnetic and that also wants to create a more inclusive environment. And I put that intention out to the universe, and God is like, great, I'm glad. That's why I put you there. Here you go. It wasn't for me, it was for the people. And when feminine leadership is at the helm, that's what we care about. We care about the people. Why? Because we make people. I'm going to get emotional. Why do we care about other people? Why is it so evident when a woman is in her toxic feminine? Like, you can tell when she doesn't care about other people. The feminine energy creates life. So it's only natural that you have that innate desire to want to do well by other people, by nature. And by nature, I mean like the planet. Those are things that women care about. If you look at the stats, when women are in leadership, where our money goes is to doing things like restoring, fighting poverty and homelessness, nutrition, sustainable efforts for the planet. These are the things that women look at. It's not a coincidence. It's because we're very connected to Mother Earth. But when a woman is cut off from her intuition, when she's cut off from her tribe, and when she's cut off from all of these things, the last two things on this slide is cold, bitter, jaded, unforgiving. You don't care about other people. You just care about you. That's where these, oh, we're not the same cis posts come from that literally make me want to vomit in my mouth. I have gone off for like so long on this, and I had some more on there too. Toxic feminine energy looks like being ashamed of your body. Not having boundaries, throwing pity parties. You vicariously live through other people. You feel out of alignment with your life purpose. Even though you have all these kids, you still feel like there's something missing, right? This is what happens when we're not tapped in and tuned in to our divine feminine energy. It becomes wounded, it becomes unbalanced, and it can become outright toxic. So since this is part one, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I could have wrapped it up a long time ago, but really just want to get these ideas off. One of my missions, my personal missions, is to help awaken the goddess or the divine feminine within all of the women that I have the privilege of leading. And so if you would like to know more about this, or if what I'm talking about intrigues you, or if you want to further this conversation or any of the above on social media, you can shoot me a DM and you can just say, hey, I heard today's podcast and I'm intrigued. Or you can go ahead right now. Is it ready? No, it's not ready. Okay. In an hour, you can go to my bio and you can click to sign up for the Self-Healing Summer Series, because it's going to be all about healing some of those feminine wounds that we have all faced. And it is my belief, my pie in the sky belief, that this world will start to get better when more women get to step into their power. I have this mantra that the world that we know it as we know it right now is a result of men abusing their power and women not standing in theirs. And I know that we've been oppressed. I know that we've been made literally into sex slaves. I know that we weren't given access to credit or the ability to build our own businesses and wealth. And so this is very recent. So I'm not shitting on the women centuries before me, but we're here now. We're here now. For what better time than this, ladies? So thank you so much for tuning into today's podcast. If you got value from today's episode, you know the deal. Write me a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Leave 5 stars. You have no idea how much that helps. The podcast gets shown to women that I have never even met that get value from this because you wrote a review, because you wrote it as a 5-star rating, and because you share it to your stories. If you want more details on the Awaken the Goddess Within retreat that we are doing in Puerto Rico in October, or if you want to join the Self-Healing Summer Series, all of these links will be in the show notes for the podcast, and they will also be in my links in bio. I love you guys so much. I thank you for those of you that tune in, that watch these, even those that I don't know that you're here. I feel your energy. I feel your support. I love you. Thank you. Have the best day of your entire lives. To the moon and back. Coach Bond's out.